Hi, I'm Jerry Ford, and welcome to my channel, Sew Easy Quilts. Although it should be called Sew Easy Quilts and a whole lot more, because I do a lot of stuff. So anyway, today we're going to talk about Christmas crackers. And what are Christmas crackers? Some people have never heard of them. They think, okay, that's something you eat on a plate with cheese and hors d'oeuvres. Well, yeah, it technically is, but Christmas crackers are actually almost like a party treat or a party favor. And it started in England, and it's actually a Christmas tradition in England. It started somewhere around 1840 with a guy named Tom Smith. He was a London confectioner, and he liked bonbons, which were French. So he thought, well, he could liven them up, and hence came out the Christmas cracker. Why they're called crackers is because they have what they call a cracker snap inside them, because when you open them, they do this. Whoa, loud. It's got like a little cap gun thing in there that it actually makes the noise. So they're fun. Here's the traditional Christmas cracker. And what it is it's actually made of toilet paper holder. You know, the toilet paper roll. And it's wrapped in wrapping paper, and it contains gifts. It's got a snapper inside, and when you pull it apart, the tradition says that two people pull it, and whoever gets the cracker, or actually usually one part will come off, but whoever gets most of it gets the contents of the cracker. But they can, you know, this is the traditional paper one, and it's filled with all kinds of goodies. So they're plain. Sometimes they're plain. You can now I'm not going to show you how to make these. There's plenty of YouTube channels. There's lots and lots of YouTube videos that will show you how to make these. These are very easy. They're simple and quick to make. Then there's other ones that are a little more complex, which are actually made of cardstock. And see, like this one is getting ready to be decorated for Thanksgiving, so they're for more than just Christmas. You can use them for any holiday. You can use them for baby showers, weddings, any kind of party that you want to have, luncheons, all kinds of things you can do. This one's made of cardstock. Again, this one is also made, this one takes longer. This is the quickest to make, okay? This one doesn't have a toilet paper roll in the middle, but these do take longer to make. Takes about an hour. But again, there's lots of YouTube videos out there that will show you how to make those. Now, I like to make them out of, you can make them out of fabric, but I have found lots of patterns available. However, most of them have two drawbacks. Some of them look like this, but you can't pull them apart because you can't pull apart fabric, and therefore they don't pop. So these are essentially big giant candy wrappers, you know, if they're made out of fabric. And yes, they're pretty, but you know, I wanted more than that. Then there's other ones where they have them put together, and the problem there is that you had where the fabric was put together and Velcro, it overlapped, and they just looked homemade, and I'm not totally crazy about them. Also, again, if they had Velcro, it would make a popping noise, but people said, oh, the Velcro sounds just like a cracker. No, it doesn't. Nothing sounds like a cracker but a cracker. So I have come with a pattern that is actually made of fabric, and it's nice and neat, and it does pull apart. It has Velcro inside, and it does contain a cracker, so it not only has the Velcro noise when it rips apart, but the snapper does pop. Other times that I've seen people take a plain one like this, and they'll make something like a fabric wrapper. And I do have a pattern for these, and this video will be coming out shortly, where this is the same as this, but now I have put something on here, especially if you make them yourself. Sometimes it's nice to be able to identify whose belongs to who, because you know they contain gifts and stuff, so it may not be appropriate for a child, so you want to label it so you know that a child shouldn't have that one. And these, you can personalize them. Even the fabric ones, you can personalize them, and this one is for my son. And it contains things that I know he would like, so this will sit at the table, and they just pop on and off with a button and some elastic. And these are fun to do. These are reusable. What I like about these, now also the ones that you see a pattern for, either used a toilet paper roll in the middle to give it some support, which means you're still feeding the landfill, it's not going away, or they were soft-sided and mushy. And like, yeah, no, that didn't do it for me. They're beautiful and they're lovely, but they're not for me. I wanted something that looked more like this. So I thought, well, make it out of fabric. You can't wash it if it's got cardboard in it, and you can't use it again. So what I like is this keeps this out of the landfill, and guess what this is made from? What is supporting the in here? Bottles like this. This pattern keeps plastic out of the landfill, which I like. And this is, I know in the States, I'm not sure where you're watching from, but these are flavored water containers. This one is a brand called Frost, and I think I got this at Aldi's. But there's another brand called Ice. There's several of them. Some plain water. I think some of the Dasanis are really thin. So when you're looking for a bottle to use as a support, then what you want to look for is something that has about a 2 1/4 inch diameter. And if you measure around it, it's about a 7 1/4 inch circumference around there. So that's what you're looking for, something tall and thin. It's a little bigger if you compare it to the size of a toilet paper roll. It's thicker. What's in a cracker? Crackers have all kinds of fun things in them. And, well, heck, let's take this one apart. Like, ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah, it popped. I love it. So I have some different things in here. It has the traditional crown, and why there's a crown in there? It's just tradition, and it actually dates back to ancient Rome with a Saturnalia, which was celebrated around the winter solstice. And of course, a lot of our holiday traditions come from the ancient Romans. So, you know, they're always ill-fitting and rather big and silly, and they come in different colors of tissue paper, but you have to wear them. Why? Because it's tradition. So I usually have a hat. It usually has either a saying or a joke, and you can get a lot of the, and I'll show you later how to make these paper crowns, and that'll be at the end of this video if I have time. If not, I'll put it on a separate video. These are little papers that have different jokes or sayings in them, and you just roll them up and put them in. You can search Google and look up Christmas cracker jokes, and you'll find, I think I found one site that had like 8 pages of these jokes. And they're all different, because tradition is you pop the popper and you had to read out your saying or your joke. And then it has like a prize. This one's got some super glue in it. And candies and a bell. And there's more candies. There's all kinds of stuff that you can put in there. Like I said, I've got a whole drawer full of stuff in here. Little erasers and super glue. And for one person I know is going to get a, I guess a USB connector, erasers, chapstick, anything that'll fit inside these tubes will work. And then this is leftover holiday candy in there. So however you can stuff them in there. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's what you're going to need to make a fabric Christmas cracker. First of all, you're going to need a drink, empty and rinsed out. It's hard to dry it if you're working in a hurry, but you can dry it out as you tear it apart. Okay, you're going to need, of course, you need to prepare the bottle. You're going to need a Sharpie marker and a rubber band. You're going to need a utility knife in order to cut it. Nice sharp one, the sharper the better. You have to be careful with this stuff, it makes a nasty cut. Some paper scissors, fabric scissors, thread snips, some kind of ruler, and a measuring tape. And I have, here it is. Here's a measuring tape right here that you need to measure things. You need about 8 inches of Velcro, or excuse me, hook and loop tape, about 3/4 of an inch wide, and we're going to be splitting this in half lengthwise. Of course, you need a cracker snap. I got these from, I believe I got these from an Etsy shop. You're going to need 4 pieces of fabric. One is the outside, and this piece here is 5 1/4 inches wide. And of course, that's determined by the thickness and the size you want of your bottle. By 8 1/4 inches long, and that's for this bottle. And then of course you need another piece of liner fabric that goes on the inside, the same side as the outside. And you need two pieces of fabric for the outside twist pieces, you know, the part that makes it look like a candy wrapper. Of course, these are going to get folded in half. Looks like a lot of fabric, but once it's gathered up in the ribbon, it's not all that much. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is to prepare this bottle. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is grab my paper scissors, and I'm going to cut the label off. And this is just a little piece of plastic. Like I said, I like keeping things out of the landfill. Okay. You don't need the lid. You can throw that away or put it in recycling. Okay, you want to you're going to divide this bottle into 3 parts. And let's see if this will make it easier to see. Okay, to 3 parts. One is going to be 4 inches long for the center section, and 2 little pieces between 1 inch and 1 1/4 inches, depending on how long your bottle is. So I'm going to start by putting a rubber band right at the top. And I'm just going to play with this till I get it straight, because I do have problems getting things straight. So I need to draw a line. And to me, this was the easiest way, finding the straight part. I don't want the curve, because this part curves here. And I don't want that. I want it right here on the edge, where it goes straight. I'm just making a line to draw or to cut from. See? Okay, and then when I take the rubber band off, I have a nice straight line. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to brace this against something else and keep my hands way back. And if it's a nice sharp new knife, it's going to cut smoother and faster. I don't know about you, but I have a tendency, it's a little noisy, I have a tendency to keep using it to be as frugal as I can with the knife, but a dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp one. Okay, so now this is nice, and then you can put this little part into recycling. Throw that in the trash. Okay, now I want to measure down 4 inches, because that's... Okay, if you have any rough edges, then use your paper scissors to straighten them out. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, then I'm going to measure down 2 more inches. So I'm going to make these about 1 inch long. And again, I'm going to mark them. Let me do them both at the same time. Okay, this is the last of it. We'll put that in recycling. Close up my knife. Again, I'm going to check these. If they're really too icky, I can always use my scissor to straighten them out a little bit. This doesn't have to be perfect because this is just holding the end. And this is a little wide, so actually what I'm going to do is just simply cut it so that these can be smaller. And that looks okay too. This is just to support inside. So these don't have to be perfect, and I'm going to set these aside. Okay, so now this first part, I'm going to take my ruler and just double check my measurements because bottles can come in differently. Okay, so this one is, okay, 7.5 inches in diameter. In circumference, and it doesn't hurt to measure inside, just to be sure. Okay, and now, yes, I lost about 1/2 inch, so it's about 7 1/8 inch wide. So I know that I need to write that down, that I need at least 7 1/8. I'm going to round it up to 7 1/4 for the Velcro. What I want to do is I want to sew these together on the long side, right sides together. And I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and do that. And I'm going to switch camera. The first thing we want to do is sew a 1/4 inch seam down the length, the longest length of the two liner and outside fabrics together. So right sides together. Okay, I'm using a straight stitch with about a 2 millimeter long stitch. Okay, and I'm going to be crossing the seams, so it is not necessary to back up. It just adds bulk anyway. Okay, and then we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to press the seam open. And so first with a dry iron, and then press it open to reduce the bulk. First I finger press it. Okay, you're not seeing that, so I'm finger pressing that. There. And pressed it open. The next thing I want to do is take my paper scissors, and I want to cut the Velcro in half. Now on the tube, the center tube, I want to use the fuzzy side. The reason is when you reach inside to place it, the loop side can actually scratch and hurt you, or at least it irritates you. So I'm going to cut this lengthwise. You want sew-in hook and loop tape, not the adhesive. And then while I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and cut the loop in side too. The loop sides are going to go on the twist ends. Okay, alrighty. Okay, and now I'm going to, and what else I want to do while I'm here, I'm going to press in 1/2 inch on either short end. Okay, so I want to press that 1/2 inch. This is where the Velcro is going to be connecting. We'll do it here and on this side. And watch out for the iron. It's dangerous. At least on my hands. Okay. I'm going to turn this on the right side, and I'm going to sew the Velcro on either center it in the middle, because you got a 1/2 inch seam, but I'm going to sew about 1 inch away from the beginning and the end. I'm not going to start at the beginning here to top stitch this down. So I'm going to come in a good inch, and I'm going to sew on either side. Okay, and now I sew down this side, again about 1 inch away, and that's going to secure the Velcro. I'm going to put the other loop side, the soft side, on this side. I'm going to sew through this liner area. Okay, again, start about 1 inch away and double row of stitching. Whoop, too far. And I'm going to take some of that out. And now here. Again, too far, but that's okay. A little too far, and I'll take that out. That's easy to do. Alrighty. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is put these two ends together. And I'm going to use my Wonder Clips on the end to hold these Velcro pieces back with the clip. Okay, and I'm going to, this is a little hard to do here, but I'm just going to pin it so that it can't stitch through. Okay, and there's nothing here, so I just want to match these up. Okay, I want to sew a 1/2 inch seam here. Okay, now here I will back tack. Take the pin out. Okay. And then I'm going to open this and press it open. I'll just finger press it for now. And I didn't catch the Velcro anywhere. That's good. Why didn't I finish the Velcro? That's because as I stretch things and put things inside, these Velcros may not be quite right, and therefore then I can go ahead and adjust that. It'll be just fine over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press these open, and then I'll be back in just a second. I did check to make sure it fits. So what I'm going to do is turn this right sides out for now. Okay. And I am going to put in the plastic tube. And you're going to have to sort of compress it and squash it till you get it in there. There, get it started. Sorry, I had to put that against me to get it started. And now if this isn't going on, well, it is. I just have to work with it. But if it won't go on, no matter what you do, then just take it out and release that seam. Make that seam a little shorter. Instead of a 1/2 inch, take it at 3/8. And I know why. This still has some adhesive on the, there we go. It was the adhesive to the cup, or to the plastic container. Okay, now that I have this tightly on here, okay, I'm going to hold it in with a Wonder Clip or two so I can't pull it out, and I'm going to push the lining through match up my seam allowances. Right here, match that up, and I'm going to put a clip through all 3 layers, or 4 including the Velcro. Okay, pull this up. Usually I'm going to use a little more Velcro. Now you have a couple of options. You can hand stitch this, and by far that's the easiest to handle because you're not having to sew inside. But I'm going to have to do the same thing here. No wonder it didn't go. There we go. We can squish this down some more. Now if you really have a fabric that's very stiff, you know what you might want to do? You might want to cut the fabric on the cut the lining fabric on the bias. It will fit a lot more easily. And here we go. I just want to straighten out this outside. Again, I'm just going to put a couple of pieces of Velcro. But I'm not worried about this side just yet. Okay. And 3. Alright, now this is where you want to make sure that your bobbin thread, if you're doing this by machine, that your bobbin thread matches your outside fabric. I'm going to do it in white, which means if your stitching isn't just perfect, you're going to see it. Okay, so I'm going to remove a couple clips. Actually, I can remove pretty much all but one of them where I'm going to start. Okay, this is going to be hard to see, so let me move this camera. Okay, now I'm going to edge stitch just along this outer rim right here. And I'm going to try to do this with one hand and not being able to see, which should be interesting. You don't have to, and I want to put a little bit longer of a stitch length because you're going to have to keep manipulating this and flattening it as you go through. Take your time. Don't try to rush this. And again, oh, the clip is holding it. And I'm just making sure that all of the ends are reaching. And I'm sewing through the Velcro, and this way it also seals the outside and the inside seam. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew this off because in order for me to sew it, I've got to stick my face right there so I can see what I'm doing. I can't do it. So I will be right back. Here we go. I've stitched it. If it's too hard, you know, if this is really bothering you, it's no big deal just to take a needle and thread and just catch the red and the blue layers, the inside and outside layers together with a whip stitch. You might want to then take your machine and just stitch through the Velcro so that it doesn't flop around. Like this one, you don't have to sew this side if you don't want to because it is already sewn. You just have to get this little section right here and just sew through this one little section where there. See there, I just sewed I could do a better job and I would probably pin it. But you know what, it's inside. Really, he's going to see it. You want to take a little more time to get that even. Or you could hand stitch it, but it's hard to hand stitch through Velcro. But that is good, it will hold, and that's fine. So now we're ready to work on the outside. Well, it's not perfect. So, the first thing I'm going to do is press. Okay, now these are going to go together like this. The fold is going to be on the outside, and this is going to be inside and gathered up around the tube. So that makes the twist tie. So, I want to put a 1/2 inch seam on either end of this long piece. Okay. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. Alright, and then I might even just press it in the center just to get a reference to see how it's going to look. But you don't have to do that. Just helps it crease in half better. Okay, and this one is again on one end. Okay, I am going to take the loop end of the Velcro on the right side and edge stitch this. Now, you want to measure before you sew anything. What you want to do is you want to take your Velcro, sort of start it in one place, and insert it so that it sticks. And it sticks fairly firmly. And then you want to measure. You usually take off about 1 inch. Why this is smaller? That's because of the fact that, there we go, is that it's going on the inside of some thickness. Okay, so now I know how much to cut these. Okay, I'm going to cut 1 inch off of this one. So that they're the same or close to it. And yes, you want to use your paper scissors because these will ruin. And everybody's thinking, why are you using gingers as your paper scissors? It's okay. Okay. I'm going to sew this. Oops. Yes, I'm going to sew this to the middle. Okay, about 1 inch away on both. Just do it on one of these pieces. And over here about 1 inch in, just like before. Okay. This is leaving a little more than a 1/2 inch seam, but this is where it helps to pin it or clip the end with the Velcro. But I'm going to, whatever that line is, I want to sew it really close. In fact, on the end with the that has the fold, I'm going to start there about 5/8 of an inch from one side, double tack, and now I've got the fold even. And then my edge of I will just mark this where the edge of my Velcro is. Okay, because that's where I want to finish it. And I'm going to pull this Velcro back so it doesn't, so I can sew it. And it usually doesn't want to cooperate. Stay there. Okay. And then I'm going to sew, and on this side I want to finish right at the 1/2 inch mark. And I'll take that Velcro out, and I'm sewing right along 1/2 inch. And cut. Okay, alrighty, there we go. Okay, then I'm going to, while this is soft, I'm going to sew these edges together. This side and sew that side of the Velcro. I think you can see it. I'll show you in a second. Okay. Then I just came inside the tube and I sewed these two ends together. And if it's showing, yeah, lop it off. Okay. Now this is ready to go on your tube. So you have your two 1 inch pieces right here, and I have cut them. Okay. Finger press this down. Okay, I'm going to turn it right side out. Okay. This is going, you can roll this up tight like that. You're going to put it inside. Okay. Expand it out. Push the inside, the other end through here so that, I'll find the other end. And now I'm going to match these up right here. And I'm going to pin. Again, this is something you could do by hand. I'm not going to. And I match up this wrong side to wrong side with the tube inside. And I'm pinning just around the Velcro because it's too hard to pin through the Velcro. This is why you need to use either a leather needle, or actually my favorite to use is a jeans needle or a top stitch needle. If you start to get skipped stitches, this will dull your needle. You won't be able to do fine sewing with this needle after this. So if you use, I've used a universal needle, but you will have to change out that needle after like 1 or 2 of these. Okay? And then I'm going to pull this fabric back straight. Shake the, here's the tube that I did. And now I'm going to push these away in. Okay, and then I'm going to reach on the inside. Again, you could do this by hand. And then I'm going to just edge stitch it about 1/8 of an inch away. I'm going through the Velcro. Now this one I do like to sew by machine because for one thing I can flatten this stuff out and get it fairly straight. And that one slipped on me. Okay, maybe now you can see better. So what I'm doing is I am just putting the ends together, and I want to sew through the Velcro. If it does little pleats, it's okay. It is perfectly okay. If your needles get in the way, just push them in more. Push them in again. They keep wanting to come out. And this is sewing right through the Velcro. And it's sealing the 2 edges together. Okay. This is now all done. Okay, so off camera, I did the other side. It came out just fine. And while I was doing this side, I discovered something kind of special, that I realized that this fabric was from Cranston Print Works. So I had to cut the salvage off and save it. The reason is Cranston, and I can't remember if Cranston's in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, but my late cousin Jeff was a mechanic for Cranston Print Works. And he's passed on. And several of my also late uncles and cousins and whatnot all worked, a lot of them worked at Cranston Print Works. So I have to keep this piece. I'm not sure if this piece of fabric came from my mother's stash, or it might have been from my Aunt Amy's stash, which was my cousin Jeff was his mom. I mean, it was her son. But I have to keep this now because it's special. I'm going to pin it up on the wall. And actually I think I'll save them because I think I've got some more fabric, so I'm going to have to make some things for my grandchildren so that they can have fabric that was possibly made by relatives. So, okay, so let's get back to work here. So now we're ready to assemble this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this inside. Reach inside, and then I come in here while it's not twisted and just secure it. Okay. Okay. the next thing I'm going to do is insert a popper all the way through and just leave it there for a second. Okay. So next I need some ribbon. Okay, I have one piece in and clip. See, I could see the white stitching. If it were green, I probably wouldn't see it, although you can always sew it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a ribbon on one side and put my popper in the center. And I'm going to tie this nice and tight. And maybe center it a little better. And then I'm going to tie a bow. I'm not going to do a knot because then they would have to cut it to get it apart, and that defeats the purpose of it being reusable. Okay. I could also put in some holly leaves or some other decorations. And see that, maybe pull it out a little bit more. Alrighty, and then I'm going to push that in. Alrighty. I made these tails a little longer. If you don't like them this long, make them shorter. That's okay. Okay, now I have the popper going all the way through. And then I want to start filling it full of my goodies. So I'm going to put in my paper hat. And you can buy them already done, but I'll show you in a little bit how to make your own. And usually I roll it up because this one's made of mylar and it defies going in there without a fight. Okay, so I'll put that in there. And then I'm going to put in a joke. And this one says, what do you get if you cross Santa with a duck? A Christmas quacker. Oh, that's silly. Okay. And look, that didn't go. So it helps to roll it up. And I'll wait until I have some candy. I'm going to put in, I'll put in an eraser. And I've got a bell. Just throw them in. All that stuff in, fill it full of candy. Here's my candy right here, and just start filling it as much as will go in there, or as much as you want to put in there. First candy cane, some Smarties. What else is in here? Anything good? Oh, chocolate balls. Whatever, you know. Okay, then you're going to slip the other end through. And while this is open, you're going to just push this inside. Reach inside and just firmly press the pieces of Velcro together. You could put in some confetti, but if I'm going to put in confetti, you probably might want to put a piece of tissue paper inside. Alrighty, now I've got my Christmas cracker. I'm going to pull it to the center. Okay, now I'm going to take my other ribbon and tie it tight. Nice and tight. And then I'll tie a bow. And the last thing we have to do is seal in these Christmas crackers. I mean seal them in so they don't come out. They may be a little long. So usually I will at least cut one end. Well, depends on how far they stick out or don't stick out. So I'm going to clip. It's a little bit long. Then I'm going to take a piece of masking tape. You want to use masking tape because Scotch tape or Kimberbell tape won't hold the cracker in place. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of tape, one for each end, and I'm going to just tape in this to the fabric. Okay. And then the same thing, where is it? Here is on this end, and I don't have to trim this side, that's fine. And then another piece of tape, and tape it closed. Okay. Now, I could put that in a little more. Now it's finished, it's ready to go. Now what you can do is you can embroider this. If you decide that you want this personalized and this is going to be their family cracker all the time, then what you do is you're going to take and embroider it here. So when you've got your approximately 5 by 8 inch piece of fabric, you're going to stitch it long ways this way, because and you have to determine whether you're going to have it sit on the plate vertically, which means that your design's going to have to go this way. If you're going to do lettering, you want to write a name, you want it to be stacked one on top of the other. But if you're going to put this on the plate horizontally, it can just, if you're doing a name, you just embroider the name. It'll be right down the center. You want to use a design that is no more than 2.5 inches by 4 inches and embroider in here. And that you'll do by just traditional embroidery. You can do it by hand, you can do it by machine, you can applique, you can do anything with it. But that would be done before you construct the cracker. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions. It's WALTZQUILT@yahoo.com. Oh, I did promise to show you how to make the hats. Hats are super easy to do. I almost forgot about it. Okay, you're going to cut a piece of tissue paper anywhere between 22 and 24 inches long by however long the center of your cracker is. This is 4 inches, so I cut it 4 inches. Then you simply divide it into quarters and then into eighths. Just fold it in half. Okay, take one end, a little extra here, and then take your paper scissors. This again will mess up your machine, or some good scissors. And then cut a V to about 1 inch from the bottom of the crown. Then while this is open, you're going to take a piece of double stick tape, inch or so long, however much you need it. Put it on here and turn it into a big circle. Glue it together. And I got this. This was at the dollar store. So it doesn't have to, like I said, they don't have to fit right. They don't even have to do anything right. And then what I do is I will take it by the end that's got the tape and roll it up. And roll it and roll it. And then just sort of keep it together with a clip until I'm ready to put it into a cracker. Because this is Mylar. Now you can also use tissue paper. Most of them that you buy commercially are tissue paper. And they make tissue paper in all colors. The problem with the Mylar, and these look really nice, I think they look better than the tissue paper, is that the minute you let them go they expand. And then you can't put your candy in the cracker. So that is how you make a cracker. Okay, so if you like this video, or if you have any comments, either email me or put your comments below the video, and I will be happy to respond to them anytime. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to receive more videos. So I'm planning on putting more content more often. So until then, happy Christmas party or New Year's party, or I'm going to make some for Thanksgiving too. So great. See you guys later. Bye. Thank you for watching.